Hi, high school football fans. This is High School Football America for May the 8th. Happy NFL Draft 2014. I'm Jeff Fisher, host of the show and founder and editor-in-chief of High School Football America and highschoolfootballamerica.com. Tonight is the night, and this weekend is the weekend for all of those high school football players. 1.1 million in the country usually play each and every year, and then that number is whittled down to a much smaller number that goes on to play the college game, especially at the high level, and then the percentage goes way down or up, depending which way you want to look at it, for those 1.1 million players that actually get to hear their name called out during the NFL draft in New York City. Less than 2% going on to the NFL after starting out their high school football careers, and want to spotlight that part of the journey tonight. It is a celebration. Now, you know that myself, my partner Trish Hoffman, we believe in small town football and all the great things about it, because the slice of the pie of kids that play the game and never play it beyond high school is the bigger slice of the puzzle. Or a slice of the pie, I should say. But the final piece of the puzzle comes into play here for a lot of players tonight. Lots of excitement, and we have a great show for you tonight. Before we get things kicked off, I want to mention our partners here. Show brought to you by the Debris Inhibitor Razor. That's the TDI Razor for short. Razor spelled R-A-Z-U-R. You can get this great product, American-made product, which keeps those rubber pellets from field turf out of your shoes, but they're great for natural grass as well. They're very, very durable. They don't wear out. Great price point, $14.99. Come in 12 different colors, including pink when we get to Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. TDI Razor, $14.99, but you can get a discount by using our code HSFBARZR1. That's all you have to do when you put it in there, and this product is awesome for keeping the debris out of your shoes, but it's also a great cost saving for programs, as it gives you that great look of spatting without the high cost of tape, and at $4 a roll, it will save you a ton of money. Trust me on that. That's TDI Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, TDIRazor.com. Also brought to you tonight by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger reminding you dads out there to share what you love with who you love, especially when you're talking about your passion for the game of football at all levels, high school, down at the youth level, up at the college and the NFL levels. That's what you should do. Sit down with a bowl of Frosted Flakes and share that passion with the kids. And speaking of all levels of football, also brought to you tonight by the Maxwell Football Club, maxwellfootballclub.org. Become a voting member supporting all levels of the game and their great gala in March. And you can, by becoming a voting member of the Maxwell Football Club, you actually get to vote on the college player of the year, the college defensive player of the year, NFL player of the year, and NFL coach of the year. It's a great organization. Learn more at maxwellfootballclub.org. Well, let's start this draft special here by talking about something that was a lot of fun for us here at High School Football America, Trish Hoffman and I. One of our guests on the show tonight will be an interview we did back in 2011 as we gave Johnny Football his first national exposure, an extended interview we did with Johnny Manziel back in June of 2011. Johnny was named the National High School Coaches Association Senior Football Player of the Year. We helped the NHSCA out with their national radio show known as the NHSCA Sports Hour. And back in June of 2011, we talked with Johnny Manziel about his incredible career. And we're going to go back. It's Throwback Thursday. That's what, hashtag TBT. But we're going to throw it back and give you another listen to this great interview with Johnny Manziel. You'll really find out who he was when he was a kid, a very proud kid, a very dedicated young man. And I'd like to read you the excerpt from the NHSCA and what they said in naming him their Senior Football Player of the Year out of Tivy High School in Kerrville, Texas. It read this way: Manziel is one of the greatest players in the hallowed history of Texas high school football. The dual-threat 6'1", 195-pounder was the only quarterback to be named a Parade All-American after completing, during his career, 520 of 819 passes. That's 63.5%. For 7,626 yards and 76 touchdowns. He also did it with his legs. We saw that at Texas A&M. He rushed during his high school career, 531 times for 4,045 yards and 77 touchdowns. And he also caught some passes along the way, 30 passes caught for 582 yards and another 5 touchdowns. 3 years as a starter. As a senior, Manziel led the Fighting Antlers to a 10-2 record, completing 228 of 347 passes for 3,609 yards, and that was 45 touchdowns during his senior season that he threw for. Just 5 interceptions, 45 TDs, and 5 picks. He rushed for 1,674 yards, which was just below a 10-yard average. He scored 30 touchdowns with his legs. He was the Associated Press Sports Editor's Texas Player of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year from the San Antonio Express News, and just had a phenomenal career. And he was also, as we all know, he was a pretty darn good athlete in baseball. As a sophomore and a junior, sophomore year, he hit .412 in baseball and .416 as a junior, and at that point in time, he had an 8 handicap as a golfer. So we're going to turn the Wayback Machine back to 2011 here just in a little bit to play you that interview we did with Johnny Manziel. Like I said, first extended national interview that Johnny did back in 2011. Also on the show tonight, Jason Strunk, the guy that writes the turnaround for us, the head coach in West Texas, Lubbock, Texas, going through their version of spring ball now. About a dozen states playing their spring practices out across the country, a lot of them in the South, and we're going to talk to Strunky about how they do things a little bit differently down there during spring ball at Lubbock High, the Lubbock Westerners. I hope you've been tuning in to the 2-Minute Drill, our daily podcast, which is available on iTunes and our website. We've had a lot of great stories for you throughout the week, so make sure you subscribe to that or listen to our podcast on our website. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the NFL draft tonight. Somebody's going to go to the top. Is it Jadeveon Clowney out of Rock Hill, South Carolina? Will Johnny Manziel get that number 1 pick? May it be someone else? I don't think it's going to be anybody other than one of those two, and I do think it's going to be Clowney. And that will be interesting because in the last 3 NFL drafts, the tiny town of just under 70,000 in South Carolina, Rock Hill, will have had 3 first-round draft picks, not just number 1s, but first-round. Jadeveon, if he goes number 1, would become their first number 1 at that point. But in all, since 1936, when it was the first NFL draft, 28 states have been represented as the number 1 pick. At the top of the heap, Texas and California, both states, have had 11 players selected number 1 overall. Number 3 on that list is Ohio, which has had 6 number 1s, and Alabama and Louisiana have had 5 number 1 picks overall. There have been some occasions where we've had some states have back-to-back players going number 1. For example, the first time it happened was back in 1968 and 69. Ron Yary from Bellflower High School in California went number 1, and that was followed the following year by O.J. Simpson out of San Francisco going number 1. So California had back-to-back number 1s in 68 and 69. They did it again in 2002 and 2003 as David Carr out of Bakersfield High School goes number 1 in the draft, and then Carson Palmer from Santa Margarita High School was taken number 1 in the 2003 draft. Back in 1960 and 61, it was Billy Cannon out of Baton Rouge in Louisiana, Baton Rouge High School going number 1. In 1961, the following year, another Louisiana high school player went number 1, Tommy Mason out of Lake Charles. Ohio had it happen in 94 and 95. In 94, Dan Wilkinson out of Dayton High School was drafted number 1 overall, and then in 95, Kajana Carter from Westerville High School was taken with the overall number 1 pick. And in 92 and 93, Washington State had the honor of having back-to-backs. Steve Emptman of Cheney High School went number 1 in 92, and then 93, Drew Bledsoe from Walla Walla was the overall number 1 pick. Don't see that happening this year. Last year, the overall number 1 pick was Eric Fisher, no relation to myself, out of Michigan, went number 1, taken by the Kansas City Chiefs. Who was the first overall number 1 pick His name, Jay Berwanger. And there's some interesting facts about Jay. He was a star at the University of Chicago. He played at Dubuque High School in Iowa. He won the Heisman Trophy, the first one ever. But the young man who was drafted number 1 in 1936 never played pro football. That's right. He was drafted in the inaugural draft by the Philadelphia Eagles, but they didn't think they could meet his salary demands. He was looking for $1,000 a game. Whew! Well, this is 1936, and so the Eagles traded his negotiating rights to the Chicago Bears because they thought, well, maybe they could get it done there. Berwanger was a great star at the University of Chicago, where he was known as the one-man football team. But he didn't sign with the Bears right away because he wanted to preserve his amateur status so that he could compete for a spot on the U.S. Olympic team in the 1936 Summer Games. He was a decathlete, a very, very good one. So he missed the Olympics, but Berwanger then went back to Papa Bear, the legendary George Halas, and they were negotiating things out. Berwanger wanted $15,000 a year. Halas's final offer was $13,500. So Jay Berwanger, the number 1 pick in the very first NFL draft in 36, decided he would take a job with a Chicago rubber company. And he also became a part-time coach at his alma mater at the University of Chicago. And Berwanger never played football, although later on in life, pro football I should say, later on in life Berwanger did express regret that he did not accept Halas's offer. But he went on, lived a very good life, passed away in 2002 at the age of 88 years old in Oak Brook, Illinois. So another fun fact about the NFL draft. If Johnny Manziel goes in the first round, and we doubt that he wouldn't, but let's do that. Max Preps put out a fun thing today with some kind of facts on the top players that are looking at that number 1 spot. If Manziel is taken in the first round, he will become the 3rd Texas high school quarterback taken in the first round since 2011. The others, Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, and Ryan Tannehill. Matthew Stafford, also a first-round pick, going overall number 1 in 2009. Andy Dalton, playing for the Bengals now, played at Katy. He was the second-round pick in 2011. And as we mentioned before, Jadeveon Clowney will be the 3rd first-round pick from Rock Hill, South Carolina, in as many years. It's going to be fun. We're going to be tweeting out all night long where the first-round draft picks played their high school football, and we just congratulate everyone at every level. I mean, making it to the NFL isn't something you just do as a player. You need your coaches, you need your school administrators, you, of course, need your parents, you need your friends, your family, all of that to make that dream come possible tonight, and we congratulate everyone who's been there supporting these players that will have a very big night tonight in New York City. Going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to turn the Wayback Machine here on Throwback Thursday to June of 2011. Johnny Manziel was just known as Johnny Manziel back then, not Johnny Football. We're going to play that interview that we did with Johnny back in 2011 when we come back. You're listening to High School Football America. Those rubber pellets from field turf, be gone. How? With the Debris Inhibitor Razor. It's a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing fields out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and out of the locker rooms. It's favorited by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have time just to tape for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in their house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is made of 70% nylon and 30% spandex material, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor, also known as the TDI Razor, covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable via screen print or embroidery, machine washable, and most important, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is available in black, white, and pink, 12 colors in all, and special colors may also be ordered. Sizes available: youth, that's 4 to 6, the 7 to 9, medium shoe, the large shoe at 10 to 13, and for that extra Bigfoot guy, 14 to 17 is available. This great American-made product was founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III and 3 partners at Southern Sport. They created the debris inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes and allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Go to TDI Razor, spelled RAZUR.com, to learn more. And if you use our code HSFBARZR1, you'll get a discount on your order. Welcome back to High School Football America, brought to you by the TDI Razor. And we're going to go in the Wayback Machine, not that far back, 3 years, June of 2011. When Johnny Manziel played high school football at Tivy High School in Kerrville, Texas. He was not known as Johnny Football at that point. He was just known as a guy that put up some pretty good stats for Tivy High School, and he was named by the National High School Coaches Association as its 2011 Senior High School Football Player of the Year. They name it in 20 different sports, and Trish and myself do a show for the National High School Coaches Association called the NHSCA Sports Hour. So we talked to Johnny Manziel back in June of 2011. And you'll hear from this interview that Johnny was a very focused young man. Don't think he had the explosion in his eyes that was going to happen, but who knows? He's a very confident young man at that point. And let's go and listen to that interview right now. Johnny Manziel from June of 2011, before he was Johnny Football.
We're going to bring in Johnny Manziel of Tivy High School in Kerrville, Texas. He is our 2011 NHSCA Player of the Year for football. He finished his career as one of the best double threats in high school football, 11,600 yards in total offense. He ran and threw for 153 touchdowns. Quite a few great numbers there, and welcome to the show, Johnny.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, it is great to have you on the show, Johnny. You've already enrolled at Texas A&M, getting ready for your college career, but let's take our listeners back a little bit to your incredible high school feats. First of all, we're going to start with, what are some of your top memories of your time at Tivy?
Just making the runs that we did, and having the luxury of having teammates around me that were absolutely incredible, incredible athletes, and a great coaching staff to take us far into the playoffs, and really helped me with my personal success. I really couldn't have done it without the team. So just some of the runs that we made to the state semifinals in back-to-back years with after losing a lot of talent in my sophomore year. So just the runs through the Texas high school playoffs, there's nothing really like it.
Yeah, well, Trish and I got to see the championships this year, and we got a real lesson very quickly in what 43,000 people at a football game's like. It's nothing like anything most people have seen outside of the state of Texas. So let's tell our listeners a little bit about the offense that you ran for the Antlers. As I mentioned, 153 touchdowns, and they were split almost evenly. You passed for 76 and ran for 77. How balanced of an offensive attack was this that you were in charge of?
They just gave the quarterbacks a lot of freedom. They gave us a lot of leeway and really let us run the show. And we'd try and spread defenses out, and really just if they wanted to try and take away our run, well, we're going to throw it 70 times a game. And if you try and take away our pass, well, we can always have a run game. So we had a really big offensive lineman to kind of just plow the way if we needed to run it. So just having the luxury at the quarterback spot to really just have a diverse offense and really balance it out, that helped whenever we get to run the show.
One of the stats that hops off of the page as we were kind of investigating you as to what we're going to talk about: 5 interceptions, 45 touchdowns. That's a serious stat. Now, how were you able to throw so much without too many picks?
Being a quarterback, you take it personal whenever you throw an interception. So whenever you see the other team running the other way with the ball, and you just gave one up, and you take that personal, and you learn from your mistakes, and you really take it to heart. And that was a big thing for me. Just trying to cut down those, and I knew if you can cut down on turnovers and stuff, then you have a better chance of winning a football game. So just learning from your mistakes and really just striving to not turn the ball over and just hold on to it as much as you can.
Just to remind you, right now you're listening to an interview that we did with Johnny Manziel back in June of 2011 when he was the NHSCA's National Senior Football Player of the Year. So let's rejoin that interview with Johnny Manziel.
So, Johnny, why don't you tell us a little bit about how important football is in the Kerrville community?
It's a huge part of the town. I know just from going out places and being there throughout the years, from the 3 years that I played varsity football, just just how the town interacted more and more throughout the years. I know sophomore year we make a run to the game before state, and then the town kind of really livens up, and then doing what we did the next 2 years, we really got the town on their feet and really got a lot of people behind us. I remember being a sophomore and barely getting some people into the stands and still having a lot of room to go in from playing Bernie in a district championship game and having to have seats down on the field almost and fill up a whole high school stadium for a little town of 4A football. So the football team was a huge part of our community, and really we wouldn't have been where we were without the community.
One of the things that just came to mind as you were saying that, I'm going to go off script here a little bit and throw in kind of something out of left field, but Trish and I are huge Friday Night Lights fans, the television show and the movie, and obviously we mentioned 43,000 for a championship game last year. Okay, what's the difference between the television show? Do you watch it? I should ask you first off, and then between that and the real life high school football scene in Texas.
I actually haven't watched the television show, but if y'all seen the movie, I think that does Texas high school football a lot of justice with seeing the whole town close down for a football game, and then having 43,000 people at some state championship football games for high school kids. That's pretty impressive. So that shows you how big of a deal it is here, and it really is almost a religion type deal.
Yeah, it certainly is. As a matter of fact, I read a statistic recently that 21 of the college football bowl games this year had less attendance than the championship game between Pearland and Trinity in the 5A championship game last year. That's quite a stat, I think.
Yes, sir.
But it is Father's Day, and we're celebrating Father's Day today. So let's hear about how important your dad was in your development as an athlete.
Incredible. I know my dad never really got around to playing football or anything like that, but he was a huge golfer. So that's kind of what got me into my competitive spirit growing up. I played a lot of golf and just played a lot of sports. So I know definitely without him, I wouldn't have made the best choice of my life in coming to Texas A&M, or even been half the competitor or athlete that I am. So just growing up, and he's a competitive guy just like I am, and that's the big thing. The big thing with me, I don't care if we're playing checkers or ping pong to a Friday night football game. I never want to lose at anything, and that's the biggest thing that he ever taught me is don't ever let anybody beat you. So that was a big part in my growing up.
Well, we are talking to Johnny Manziel of Tivy High School in Kerrville, Texas. He is a 2011 National High School Coaches Player of the Year. Congratulations to you, Johnny. So how does it make you feel to win the NHSCA Player of the Year award?
It's absolutely unbelievable to get an award, not only the state of Texas awards that I was lucky enough to receive, but this being on an even bigger scale than that and being around the whole nation is more than I can even fathom. And it's such a blessing. And I thank y'all so much for even considering me for this type of award.
Well, there's only been 12 of you. We've done it for 12 years, and as the Hall of Fame is built in Easton, Pennsylvania next year, you will be enshrined in that, and it's something that you can tell your kids and your grandkids about and come and visit, hopefully. So we had mentioned, Trish had mentioned, you're already enrolled at A&M. Tell us a little bit about that decision. I know you originally had planned on going to the University of Oregon, but then things changed when the Lone Star State came calling, and now you're an Aggie.
It was actually a really crazy deal for me to even get the opportunity that I did to first go to Oregon. So kind of a really spotty deal there, and then for Coach Kelly to give me an opportunity, and one at the time that I really couldn't beat, and really loved everything about Eugene, Oregon, and everything about the whole university, and especially with the offense that they run there. I felt like that with the type of player that I am really fit. But whenever you sit down and think about it, 34 hours away is quite a distance compared to 3 from home. So when it came down to my family and everything, and how Coach Sherman was just a family type guy, it was really the better choice for me to be closer to my family and come to Texas A&M.
Just to remind you, right now you're listening to an interview that we did with Johnny Manziel back in June of 2011 when he was the NHSCA's National Senior Football Player of the Year. So let's rejoin that interview with Johnny Manziel.
So what are you actually doing, Johnny, then, to prepare yourself to get ready for college football?
In January, whenever I kind of jumped into everything, it was kind of a blur. But now that I've been here for, I guess, 6 months, and these other freshmen are just coming in, it's been a long journey these past 6 months to get the transition to college football down. I still haven't completely grasped everything, but it's a lot to learn. I'm definitely working on it.
So can you give us any idea of what the difference is prepping for college ball versus high school ball?
It's just the speed of everything. The athletes that are out here on the field, they're all D1 athletes, and they're all incredibly fast, where in high school you'd get some guys, only a handful of guys that were D1 athletes, and it really is a speed. The speed is the biggest part, and it's hard to adjust to, and it takes some time to get used to.
Tell us a little bit about some of the goals you've set for yourself over the next 4 years, and what kind of situation are you in right now as a freshman? What's the quarterback position look like at A&M, and how do you fit into that?
It's definitely going to be a great thing to watch play out. I know we have a senior quarterback right now who will start this year, and then coming up in the fall, it's me and two other guys kind of competing for the backup job, and really see who gets a little bit of experience coming in and cleaning up some jobs this year, and who knows what happens if injury were to happen. So we're all kind of working hard in the summer and all trying to get out and throw and compete as much as possible to get ready for this fall camp where it really matters, competing for the job.
Well, you sound like you're so dedicated and you're ready for some hard work ahead. But last week we tried to get you on the show, and you were busy deep sea fishing. So what else do you do to have some fun and, act your age?
Like I said, I'm a big golfer, and just got back from going and playing some basketball at the rec center up here. So anything to try and compete and have a little bit of fun is what I'm all for. And the fishing trip was definitely it's one of my first times to go out deep sea fishing. So we caught some nice fish and got to have some fun out on the ocean.
Well, that's good. And let's wrap up here. We have a lot of players that listen to the show and always look to get some advice from some guys that have done some things that are different. Obviously, you've been through the recruiting process and all that, and you mentioned how you had some changes and all that. Yeah, for the people that are listening, players that are being recruited right now, what's the best piece of advice you can give your fellow athletes as to some kind of the do's and the do-nots when it comes to getting ready to make your college choices?
The biggest part about just the whole recruiting process in general, I would say, is a lot of people, including myself, stressed about not having a lot of offers at an early point and not really being one of those top-rated guys and stuff like that. So you kind of get worried, like, are my offers ever going to come or anything like that? And the main thing you got to really focus and stay in on is just have fun. Football is a game that all these athletes really, really love. And if you get away from the main point, you get distracted, and then you really don't play like yourself. So the biggest part is just having fun, and everything will really work out. And that's the best tip of advice I could give to anybody. And really just pick the schools that you're interested in, and kind of go to some one-day camps and just have fun with it and enjoy it, and try not to get to the point where it just bogs you down or anything like that, but just have fun and play the game that you love.
Well, Johnny, we want you to enjoy the game at A&M like you did at Tivy, and I can now, after this brief 15-minute chat with you, I think Trish and I both realize that it was more than just your stats that went into being the Player of the Year for the NHSCA. You sound like a quality kid that's got your head on straight, so we're really proud to have you in that position. Thank you very much.
Well, I can't thank you all enough for having me.
Well, that was a lot of fun. Johnny Manziel back in June of 2011. As we spoke with Johnny and gave him his first national exposure as far as an interview is concerned. It was a lot of fun. Very proud that we had that moment with him. Johnny, a very good kid. Like I said, I've always said this about people. I never judge anybody, especially being in the media, until I've met a person personally. There are some people in the media that I trust that if they tell me something about someone, I'll say, okay, well, I believe that person. But for the most part, 99.9% of the time, I judge people once I meet them. I have that with, a lot of people back in the day told me how bad Roger Clemens was. Well, I have nothing but great things to say about Roger Clemens and my relationship with him as a media person that I've been for a long, long time, and I feel that way about a lot of people. So, remember, the news nowadays is not what it used to be when I was a kid growing up. Everybody's looking for that latest piece of dirt or sensational news out there, and all I can say is, when we dealt with Johnny back in 2011, what a kid, and we wish him nothing but the best of success tonight and throughout his NFL career. I happen to think that he's going to be one hell of a NFL player, by the way. All right, going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to keep it in Texas and talk with Jason Strunk, Strunky, the head coach at Lubbock High School, writes the turnaround for us at High School Football America. Coming back to talk a wide range of topics with Strunky. You're listening to High School Football America, and this is the Artist First Radio Network. Those rubber pellets from field turf, be gone. How? With the Debris Inhibitor Razor. It's a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing fields out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and out of the locker rooms. It's favorited by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have time just to tape for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in their house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is made of 70% nylon and 30% spandex material, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor, also known as the TDI Razor, covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable via screen print or embroidery, machine washable, and most important, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is available in black, white, and pink, 12 colors in all, and special colors may also be ordered. Sizes available: youth, that's 4 to 6. The 7 to 9, medium shoe, the large shoe at 10 to 13, and for that extra Bigfoot guy, 14 to 17 is available. This great American-made product was founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III and 3 partners at Southern Sport. They created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes and allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Go to TDI Razor, spelled RAZUR.com, to learn more, and if you use our code HSFBARZR1, you'll get a discount on your order. This portion of High School Football America brought to you by the Debris Inhibitor Razor. Stop those pesky rubber pellets from field turf from getting into your shoes with the TDI Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R. And don't forget, it also can give you the great look of spatting without the high cost of tape. Well, I joked with him on Twitter this morning, and thank God we're friends because people would take offense to what I said about this next short guy I'm bringing in. But we had tiny Johnny Manziel, who's going to go big tonight in the draft, and then we got not so small Jason Strunk, our good friend from Lubbock High School, on the line here to talk about their version of spring ball as spring practice is underway in Texas and about a dozen other states around the country. And Strunky's on the line right now to get us up to date with what's going on with the Westerners in West Texas. Welcome to the show, Strunky.
Thanks, Jeff. It sounds like you're backtracking from your earlier tweet.
Well, come on.
That volley at me. You know?
Well, you had the best comeback of all, though, because you said you were able to get onto all the rides at Disneyland and all those other places.
Right.
So that was, you poked yourself back. That was good.
Yeah, I'm at least tall enough to ride roller coasters, so that's all the stature I need, I suppose.
Well, riding roller coasters is probably a good segue into what it's like to be a high school football coach in America. We haven't had you on in a while. We had your former defensive coordinator on the show last week, and Dwayne Tolliver, the new coach at Claude. And I want to ask you a little bit about him a little bit, but let's get into it. Texas, has 6A and 5A classifications that are allowed to have spring ball, and if you don't participate, you get an extra week in the fall when camp starts. So there's a lot of different rules, and I know you at Lubbock have chosen to have spring ball, but it's not official spring ball. So kind of lay it out for the listeners how things lay out and what you have to decide as a coach when it comes to spring ball, whether to do it, full pads or not in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had a lot of experience with spring ball on the college level, and then obviously in Florida, where spring ball is a really big deal, and it is out here as well. But in Florida, did the same thing. We went 2 years through spring ball and did all that. And there's really no option in Florida. It's, you have spring ball, this is how you do it, and that's how it is. Out here in Texas, like you said, with the 5A and 6As, we're given the option to have spring ball, which I like. My first year here, back in 2011, we did full-fledged spring ball with pads because we're installing some new things and had to get a feel for the program and the players we had. And after that, we kind of reevaluated it to what we do. And since we have an athletic period out here, we can work football, pretty much every day if you wanted to, in cloth, which is T-shirts and shorts. I decided, a few years ago, hey, let's keep the pads away in the spring, and let's do our version of spring ball. So what we do, like I said, with our athletic period, we come out here at, we're on the field by about 12:20. We're off the field at 1:20, and during that time, we're outside working offense, defense, and special teams in T-shirts and shorts. No gear, no pads. So we go out there, and that's what we call our version of spring ball. We started at April 28th. We've been working football in the period, and then we just adjust our weightlifting schedule where the kids lift after school. So that's our version of spring ball. Gives us a chance to work football, and get some solid football work in basically, and still lift the weights, which is critical to our success here. We need to be in the weight room, but we keep the pads away. And what that does, that gives me in the summer, I get an extra week of summer camp, and I get 2 scrimmages. So I'd rather go that route than get the gear out here in the summer and then pack it all away and then get it back out in August. I think we can get everything done the way we do it and avoid, some contact injuries. And, with all this stuff with concussions today now, it's, anything you can do to avoid any of that and still come out ahead, I'm going to do it. So we like what we do here. It's fit us, and, we're going to keep rolling with that as long as I'm here.
You just created a little slogan there. You said you come out ahead when you're talking about concussions.
Right.
You didn't even know how intelligent that was.
I didn't even know it. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm getting smarter as I get older.
Yeah, trademark that. We're talking with Jason
Strunk.
Talking with Jason Strunk, the head coach at Lubbock High School in West Texas. He writes the turnaround for us. By the way, the new website will be up and running on May the 15th for us here, and we'll have some stuff from Strunky on that. He's been doing it for a couple of years, and you mentioned that. I should mention to the listeners that haven't read the turnaround, one of the reasons we're writing it with that title, if you will, is because you're turning things around in Lubbock. You did it in Plant City in Florida, and you've had the same opportunity back in Pennsylvania. So you're a unique coach that has been in some big football states. Can I take you back to Florida? Because Florida is really unique in the fact that at the end, I think is it a 3-week period you can play, and then there's an actual scrimmage at the end of that against another team. So explain Florida for people too, because it'd be great to get that in and compare and contrast it to Texas.
Yeah, Florida is really unique, and the thing I have, I did spring ball on the college level, I did spring ball in Florida, and I do spring ball in Texas. So I have 3 very unique experiences, and they're all a lot different. Florida, like you said, you have 3 weeks to get it in. It's full gear, and it's just like spring ball in college. And instead of having a game at the end of that, like an inter-squad, like the black and gold game or whatever you want to call it. Florida calls them the Jamboree. It's your Jamboree game. And what they do, they take 4 high schools. So when I was in Plant City, they took us and Newsom High School and Durant and Armwood High School. And those 4 teams played at, let's just say, Durant High School. And what we did, Plant City and Armwood played the first half of the game, so we played 2 quarters. The second half of the game, the third and fourth quarter, would have been Durant against Newsom. So it's 4 teams at one site, and the game's split. It's 4 quarters, but it's split in 2 games. So you play 2 quarters, and it's a game. I mean, it is full-fledged. You coach to win that thing. That was what was very unique about Florida, and the stands are packed. I mean, it's really a unique experience. I really enjoyed that about Florida. It puts a lot of pressure on you, though, because you're trying to get through spring ball, and it's like, hey, we have a game here that people really care about, and it's, May 25th or whatever it is, and you got to put the gear away and come back in August. So it's a unique experience. It's, like I said, the stands were full, and the thing that's really different is the amount of college coaches that come out. I mean, we had tons of college scouts, all Division I guys at all of our spring games. That's the draw that Florida has. A lot of athletes down there and good exposure. And, that spring game, it was a lot of fun. I'm kind of glad I'm not involved with it now because, like I said, it's a lot of pressure just for a spring game. You got to look good, and you only have 3 weeks to do it, and then you're playing. The one year we played Armwood, who I think was national runner-up the year before.
Uh-huh.
They had a guy playing running back for him by the name of Matt Jones, who people may know. He's a starting running back for Florida Gators. So, here we are trying to design defense to stop them in the spring game, and we only have 3 weeks to do it. So, Florida's very unique, and I'm glad I have all that perspective and experience in the different states.
Yeah, no, it gives you a good way to develop what you're doing with the Westerners right now. Jason Strunk on the line from Lubbock, Texas, West Texas. He's been the head coach there. Coming up on year number 4, you're in your version of spring ball. And, obviously the Floridas of the world, the Texases of the world, it's very serious. Where we're from back in Pennsylvania, we're not at spring ball or that. But tell me about keeping the kids energized 365, because that's got to be a handful in today's day and age. I'm assuming that's one of the reasons you have your own version of it, and I know you're a guy that likes to joke and have fun, but how do you keep the kids from, enjoying keeping focused but not feeling like it's a job 365?
That's a tough one, because it's, like I said, it's 365, and as much as you want to keep the kids energized, it's the same thing as the coaching staff. Season ends. Let's just take our season. We didn't get to the playoffs. So our off-season started a week earlier than last year, and it's tough going from practicing and playing every day and Friday night games to packing it up and being in the weight room on Monday, and that's it. So you're in the weight room from November right up until, basically August. And it's really, it's difficult at times. It's a fine line. The kids come over here, we got to lift weights and get after in the weight room, so you got to do some different things to break it up. We break our workouts up, do different things in the weight room with them, do some music. You name it. You got to be really, really creative to keep everyone energized. And what gets lost in all that is, coaches are humans too. And I guarantee you, by the time the end of January hits, the coaches are like, wow. The season needs to get here now, because it's really it can be mundane, monotonous. Whatever adjective you have, it can really be just a grind. And that's why what we do here with my coaching staff, we're young, and what I tell everybody, when you come over here, it's like coming to Animal House. You don't know what we're doing. We're laughing about something, doing something to someone. We're not doing anything with alcohol. I don't mean that, but we have a good staff that likes to keep it fresh and fun, and we have a lot of fun together. And I think that's key. That permeates into the kids. We have good relationships with them. We can joke with them. And I think that helps carry you through those dark days of the winter. With the spring work or the weight room workouts and stuff. So it's a fine line, but we do the best we can.
Nope, you sure do that, and we have conversations that kind of meander here a little bit, and since you just talked about your assistants, we had Dwayne Tolliver on, your former defensive coordinator who went to New Mexico for his first head coaching job in 2013, and this year he's back in West Texas, I guess up around the Panhandle, more or less, where he belongs. He loves small-town football. Dwayne Tolliver, tell me a little bit about the pride as a head coach, knowing that one of your assistants is able to go on, because I know one of your mantras is the fact that you want assistant coaches that want to be head coaches. A lot of coaches don't want that pressure, but you like that. So how proud are you of Dwayne?
Extremely proud. When I got here in 2011, I ended up keeping him on and made him the DC, and he took it and ran with it. We built a solid relationship from day one. And from the moment I met him, he told me he wants to be a Texas high school head football coach. And I knew that's what he wanted. And when you have guys like that are motivated, they're going to do well for you. And by year 2, I think we had the second-ranked defense in the district. We played well, had a great defensive turnaround, got us to the playoffs. And he was on the interview circuit basically that entire offseason. He interviewed all over the place, and he couldn't land one in Texas. So he ended up going to New Mexico, which he didn't want to do. I don't think deep down he didn't want to do, but he had to do it. And he did it, and I think they made the state semifinals this year, I think. So he had a good run as his first year as head coach, and thankfully that led him back here to Texas where he belongs. He's a Texas high school football coach, through and through, and I'm excited he's back here in Texas. He's close to us. He's 2 hours up there near Amarillo, so he's near us again. And you're right, there's a pride factor that comes with that. Knowing one of your guys, that was under you, and he worked his rear end off, and now he gets to sit in your seat as a head coach and experience everything you do, and knowing that you may have helped him out a little bit getting there, there's definitely a pride factor in that. I want all my guys to do well like that. Now, I don't know why coaches are so upset when they have guys that want to advance in the profession. And, I don't get it. I want my guys to be head coaches. And with T getting that done, man, I'm really, really proud of him. He's going to do a good job up there.
Talking with Jason Strunk tonight on High School Football America. The head coach at Lubbock High School writes the turnaround for High School Football America. And before we let you go here, I see it happen a lot ever since you wrote it, I guess 2 years ago now. You have a very unique nutritional program that you've implemented in Lubbock, which has been kind of dragged along from Purdue into Florida and all that. And I see a lot of coaches asking you about it. So I'd be remiss, since we haven't talked about it in a while, not to for people that are new to the show, to talk a little bit about what you do, because I think it is very unique. It makes a difference. I know that. So if you could explain a little bit, that's how we'll end the show today.
Yeah, we wherever I've been, when I was coaching college, I always said, all the nutrition we have here on the college level, why aren't we doing that in high school? Because high school athletics, it's the training ground for the next level. If Purdue University is doing it, why aren't we doing that on the high school level? Why wait until they get to college? Let's get a head start on that. I mean, we're talking about preparing kids for life. You just don't start eating when you get to college. You got to get that nutrition, before you get there. It'll help you get there. So that was always my thing. I always wondered why no one did it, and I always wanted to get it done. And coming to Texas and finding the resources and people that love high school football the way they do, we found a way to get it done. And basically our philosophy is simple. If you go in the weight room and lift weights, and you're done, you head in the locker room, grab the stuff, and go home, you just wait for the workout. You need to, once that workout's done, and we have it all set up like the military. I mean, it's a process. When they're done, it's mandatory, and we watch, their intake. We have it all measured. They get all their nutrition within 15 minutes of that workout. They go home for the day. What you're doing, you're getting all those nutrients and proteins and different things back into your body there's a critical time. You have about a half an hour to get everything back in your body. We shoot for 15 minutes. After that, it starts losing its benefit. So it's really about nutrition, getting them eating right, and the timing of it all. And that's what we focus on here. And our kids have bought into it. And there's some other effects with it as well. I mean, we're making bigger, faster, and stronger, but these kids are seeing how much work we put into it, what we're providing for them. And I think that opens up many doors to performance on the field. They'll run through a brick wall for us. They know we care about them, and heaven forbid a coach say, hey, we love our kids and we're going to do this for them. Those kids know we love them, and we show that every single day by the way we work, how we feed them, how we take care of them. So there's all kinds of positive benefits with it. I wish I could have started this 10 years ago where I was, but wherever I go, this nutrition plan is going to be with us. It's part of what we do. And like I said, if they're doing it on the college level, we need to be doing it on the high school level. So it's here to stay with me.
Let's wrap up with goals. You're in the middle of your version of spring ball. What goals have you set for the Westerners in 2014?
We're going to go one round deeper in the playoffs than we did the last time, and hopefully keep that going one round at a time. We want a winning record. No one's done that at Lubbock High since 1975. I think Gerald Ford was the president maybe back then. I'm not sure. So that's something we want to do, and we want to have a winning non-district record this year. We set goals in 3. So let's get back to the playoffs, go one round deeper, winning record, and we want a winning non-district record. And we want to battle, I want to battle for that district title. I may be crazy for saying that, but you know what? We're changing things here at Lubbock High, and I think I'm crazy enough to get it done.
You are crazy enough. I'll agree with you on that one. And we'll end it on that. Well, I got to tell you guys, the guy showed up on my doorstep. He did a pop in like a Seinfeld episode a couple of months ago. So there's nothing that's going to fool me about this guy, that's for sure. But we always appreciate what you do here for us on the show and on the website, and we always have fun joking with you. If people think that we're really mad at each other, we just like to bust you know what. So we'll leave it at that.
You got it.
All right.
That's right.
Good luck through the rest of spring, and we'll catch you up down the line.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep, you're welcome. Jason Strunk, head coach at Lubbock High School, writing the turnaround for us on High School Football America. And that's going to do it for tonight's show. Thanking our partners at the TDI Razor, TDIRazor.com, Razor spelled R-A-Z-U-R, and Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger reminding you dads to share what you love with who you love and the Maxwell Football Club. Go to maxwellfootballclub.org to become a voting member. Want to thank Jason Strunk for joining us on the show tonight, and a special shout-out. If you missed it at the top, we'll have it up in our archives, but we did an interview with Johnny Manziel at the beginning of the show from back in 2011. It was his first ever national extended interview. I spent a lot of time with him, and I think if you missed that, it'll do you good to go back and listen to the young man that may go number one tonight in the NFL Draft. I want to thank Corey King back in Ohio for keeping the show running ever so smoothly. For now, this is Jeff Fisher saying good night and good sports from sunny Southern California. You've been listening to High School Football America, and this is the Artist First Radio Network.